Welcome to Around San Diego. So glad to have you with me. I'm CBS 8's Jenny Day. I'll get you caught up on a week's worth of news and look ahead in just 30 minutes. So it is now official. The city of San Diego's controversial homeless encampment ban is set to take effect on July 30th. The city council officially passed the ban Tuesday morning. The unsafe camping ordinance bans encampments in certain public areas around the city if shelter beds are available. Not everyone is happy about it. Here's CBS 8's Brian White.
That's right. Less than 2 hours into the meeting, public comment wrapped up and the ordinance was passed here by the city council. But several council members actually voted no on this one.
It is legally, practically, and morally not the right thing for us to do at this time.
Council members Montgomery, Stepp, Moreno, Lee, and Council President Elo Rivera all voting no, just as they did the first time around 2 weeks ago. But Councilmember Whitburn continued his support.
It is very reasonable for a city to put reasonable regulations on tent structures, encampments on city property.
With 5 votes in favor, the unsafe camping ordinance passed, making tent encampments illegal in certain public areas if shelter beds are available. However, in some areas like near schools or homeless shelters or in parks and beaches, encampments would not be allowed at any time, regardless of shelter capacity.
It's horrible. You guys are so mean and cruel. I can't even believe you.
We're not going to let you forget what you're doing to unhoused people.
More than 30 people showed up to council chambers to speak out against the ordinance.
It's just going to make things worse. We all know it. We're going to see the same folks on the streets, and they're just going to move around to different neighborhoods.
Several dozen more called in over the phone, a few of which voiced their support.
The silent majority in this great city agrees with Mr. Whitburn and the mayor of this great city. It's time to get these people off public property.
With the last point in time count recording a minimum of 6,500 people experiencing homelessness in the city, critics say there are not enough shelter beds to fit the need.
I assure you that there will be no good outcomes and there will be no reduction in homelessness. Our system is overwhelmed. We need housing.
The city is launching a safe sleeping program that would allow more than 500 tents at 2 sites near Balboa Park, with the first one expected to open by July 1st on 20th and B Street. Enforcement on the new rules would begin 30 days after that site opens. I'm Brian White for CBS 8.
Yeah, and meantime, El Cajon is analyzing San Diego's new encampment ban. As it stands, El Cajon regulates camping or sleeping on public property in 3 areas. A person cannot camp on a public sidewalk, street, or alley. Camping overnight in a city park or city playground is also off limits. It's also illegal to camp within the super block. That includes the Civic Center, Judson Park, and Prescott Promenade. The city is now hoping public input will turn into better solutions.
I hope we can use the momentum and goodwill from those meetings to explore ways to look at other, more hidden aspects of homelessness and housing insecurity.
Yeah, the assistant city manager recommended waiting 6 months to a year to see how San Diego's encampment ban plays out before El Cajon makes any changes of its own. And California leaders say they've reached a deal on the state budget. The new fiscal year begins on July 1st. Governor Gavin Newsom and legislative leaders say the $310 billion spending plan includes funding on child care, homelessness, and public transportation. It also covers a $32 billion deficit without dipping into key reserves. And the San Diego County Board of Supervisors unanimously approved their more than $8 billion budget for the next year. It's about $800 million more than 2022's budget. The 2023-2024 budget will go toward 50 new staff positions, infrastructure, affordable housing, plus water quality improvements in the Tijuana River Valley. Summer road trip. Gas prices are going up this weekend when the state's gas tax takes effect. The tax goes up every year in July to help pay for the roads. Our political reporter Morgan Reiner has more on just how much of a dent it will make in your wallet.
It's going up by 3 cents, bringing the total gas tax to about 58 cents a gallon. While some claim drivers won't notice, others say every penny counts. In 2010, California drivers were paying 18 cents a gallon in the excise gas tax. It increased gradually over the years. This weekend, drivers will pay 58 cents a gallon for this tax.
We do have relatively high taxes in California in order to have freeways. The freeways aren't really free. They're funded by taxes. And the gas tax is the way we fund them.
Consumer Watchdog President Jamie Court says drivers won't really notice the 3-cent difference.
You know, I think last year we noticed when we saw gas prices go up by like $1, literally, in a matter of 3 weeks during the summer. 3 cents isn't going to matter, particularly when it's funding the roads rather than funding the coffers of the oil refiners.
San Diego Republican Assemblymember Lori Davies disagrees. She tried one final time to get lawmakers to suspend it Tuesday.
To give Californians a break from being taxed to death.
She told me pennies make a difference.
It's about $600 million additional. It does add up.
This is the latest attempt in a multi-year effort. Last year, the effort to suspend the gas tax had bipartisan support from a group of lawmakers part of the Problem Solvers Caucus.
Once again, though, it just went pushed through. It's kind of mind-blowing to me when we know how people are hurting.
Top Democrats said there was no guarantee that suspending the gas tax would result in lower costs at the pump. As of Wednesday, AAA says Californians are paying an average of $4.83 a gallon.
The danger on gas prices is they could go up suddenly. I mean, we could have something that happens in July or August, and we can see these gas price spikes again. And that's going to be a real test of the California Energy Commission and the new powers it has, is how it deals with it.
Jamie Court is referring to the new law Governor Newsom advocated for that went into effect this week that requires oil refiners to be more transparent with their profits when they are doing maintenance and allows the state's Energy Commission to punish oil companies if they are found to be profiting too much.
Morgan, appreciate it. Thank you. Well, did you see this one? A construction worker is thankfully safe following his rescue from a collapsed trench on Wednesday. He was stuck for more than 5 hours. Around 8 a.m., San Diego Fire Rescue responded to a call from the La Jolla Shores neighborhood where the man was trapped on El Paseo Grande, that's near Paseo Dorado. Rescuers say the man was trapped below a concrete beam and was stuck in that trench from the waist up. We're told the weight of the beam created challenges slowing those rescue efforts.
It's very rewarding to be able to save a life today, to make sure that this gentleman is able to continue working, go home to his family. So it's very rewarding to make sure that, to see that we had a good outcome today.
Oh, yes. So we are told the construction worker was alert and breathing throughout the rescue. He was taken to the hospital with a broken arm and is now being evaluated for internal injuries, but again, expected to be okay. Well, we are learning more about a crash that killed 4 Marines from Camp Pendleton. They've been identified as 26-year-old Daniel Nichols, 27-year-old Joshua Moore Jr., and 21-year-old Rodrigo Zermeno Gomez. CHP says the crash happened in Los Angeles Saturday morning when the car hit a guardrail, slammed into a wall, which then split that car in two and then started on fire. All of the victims were pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, the cause of the crash still under investigation. Well, now to a major step forward in the fight to clean up the contaminated waters of Imperial Beach after county leaders declared a state of emergency. For decades, sewage flowing from Mexico into the U.S. has plagued the South Bay, really polluting local beaches. In fact, some of those beaches have been effectively off limits for more than a year now because of the health risks, bacteria in the water. CBS 8's Richard Allen has more on what this declaration means and the message it is meant to send to Washington.
And today marks 562 days in a row that Imperial Beach's south side has been closed to the public because of raw sewage. The hope is that this countywide state of emergency will jumpstart the process to clean up these waters and reopen them to the public.
I want to teach my kids to surf here and be proud to be IB locals, not surfing somewhere else.
Josh Gibbs was born and raised here in Imperial Beach, and while he still surfs these polluted waters,
at your own risk,
he's enthusiastic that the county has declared a state of emergency over the decades-long sewage problem.
Someone speak up for us, it feels great, finally get a voice.
The hope is that this voice will be heard by the federal government, prompting a state of emergency out of Washington, D.C. to finally spend the more than $300 million in federal funds already earmarked to fix the problem.
Our coastal communities have suffered from this crisis for far too long. And today at the county, we're saying enough. This has got to end.
Every day, roughly 35 million gallons of raw sewage flow from Mexico into the U.S. through the Tijuana River, totaling more than 100 billion gallons since 2018, according to the U.S. International Boundary and Water Commission.
And this is the moment now.
IB Mayor Paloma Aguirre, who had been pushing for this state of emergency, points out how climate change will only exacerbate the ongoing sewage problem.
With increased projected rainfalls, and especially a strong El Nino, is going to cause increased flooding in our community. We're going to have literally wastewater flooding our streets.
The dedicated federal monies would be used to replace a sewage plant in Tijuana and double the capacity of the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant to decrease the amount of sewage released into the ocean by 80%, according to the EPA.
We are taxpayers after all, you know, might as well be able to do something for a community, and it's going to benefit lots of people.
San Diegan and mom Adriana Nolasco points to the benefits these cleaner and open beaches would have on the local economy.
Obviously, people want to enjoy that, so why not just do actually something good for this community, for the people itself that live here, people that come here as for tourism reasons.
And for more information on how these more than $300 million in federal funds would be used, just go to CBS8.com, click on the online version of this story.
Yeah, been a problem for a long time, Richard. Thank you for the update. Well, people for and against turning Anza Cove into wetlands had their final say this week in front of a panel that could sway the city's decision. They spoke to the Anza ad hoc committee at Paradise Point Resort on Tuesday night. Environmental groups support the idea of turning the cove into wetlands, but others, like campers and sports leagues, worry the plan would push them into a small space or even kick them out entirely. Some came to an agreement just this past week.
Folks that are activating the baseball fields, softball fields, tennis courts, those user groups know that there's plenty of space for them to remain and even get better parks if they can trust the process.
Yeah, not everyone is sold, though. At the meeting, several people expressed that they are still opposed to the idea. The Anza ad hoc committee will submit a recommendation to the Mission Bay Park Committee by their next meeting, that happening on July 11th. Well, if you're headed to our beaches anytime soon, I know the 4th is right around the corner, you could and very likely are sharing the water with sharks. CBS 8's Shannon Handy takes us to the spot of a recent shark sighting and tells us why experts say they're becoming more common right off our coast.
Just last week, a shark was spotted underneath Crystal Pier here in Pacific Beach, close to surfers and swimmers. The expert I spoke with isn't surprised, saying not only is this the start of shark season, but the shark population is growing.
That thing is massive.
Eric Fuss was fishing with a friend off Crystal Pier last Thursday when they spotted this great white shark.
It was probably like 10 feet away from a surfer right outside of the surf break. It was really shallow for how big that shark was.
Fuss has seen other sharks in the area, but never a great white.
In PB, that's pretty rare.
After seeing his video, I reached out to Dr. Chris Lowe, professor of marine biology and director of the Shark Lab at Cal State Long Beach. I asked him if this sighting was unusual, especially so close to shore.
We are seeing more sharks. In particular, we're seeing more great whites or white sharks along our coast.
In fact, Dr. Lowe and his team just released a 2-year research study documenting the proximity of juvenile white sharks to ocean users. Using drones, his team made 1,500 flights over 26 Southern California beaches, including here in San Diego. Videos they captured show sharks near paddleboarders, surfers, and swimmers between 40 and 50 feet from shore.
At aggregation sites, we were seeing sharks and people together every single day. In fact, multiple times a day. And the interesting thing is, from the drones, you could tell people didn't know the sharks were there.
The aggregation sites here include Del Mar and Torrey Pines, so sharks do tend to drift like what we saw at Crystal Pier. As for why they're here and so close, for starters, Dr. Lowe says this is a time of year when they use our coastline as a nursery.
There's warm water And there's lots of things for them to eat, like stingrays and fish on the bottom, which are their favorite, easy to capture food.
Also, shark populations have recovered from overfishing thanks to increased protections and better management of fisheries. Dr. Lowe points out no one was hurt during their study. The last time a shark attack happened locally was back in November of 2022 when a swimmer in Del Mar was bit in the leg. So what's Dr. Lowe's advice for anyone who sees a shark?
What we always do tell people is let the shark know you see it. So always track the shark, follow it. If you're on your surfboard and you see a shark, point your board towards the shark and turn it towards the shark as it swims. In most cases, if you see a shark in the water, that's a really cool thing. It's a sign that our ocean's getting healthier, and there's no reason to panic.
Shanna Handy, CBS 8.
Woo, we got to coexist, right? And I'm glad it's a good sign overall. Well, SeaWorld's popular electric eel roller coaster is shut down after someone was injured while riding on it. Cal OSHA confirmed it is investigating an accident involving a person who suffered a leg injury back on Friday, June 9th. The San Diego Fire Rescue Department tells us a man in his 20s was taken to UCSD Medical Center in Hillcrest after the incident. Right now, we do not know how the injury happened or the extent of the injuries, but it was listed as an acute trauma. The ride has been closed since that incident. Earlier this week, SeaWorld said it is not commenting and there's no word on when the ride will reopen. Cal OSHA has 6 months to complete its investigation. Well, the city of Encinitas strengthened rules for e-bike riders this week. This now means one rider at a time, enforcing helmet use for those under 17. And instead of automatically issuing a citation, you'll be allowed to take a bicycle safety course. The sheriff's department says that we are sadly seeing a major spike in crashes, and that's why a state of emergency was declared just last week. A 15-year-old was struck and killed right there on El Camino Real.
Put down your phones. Slow down. Be present with your children and your loved ones.
Bike safety, and I think
yeah, so true. So the city approved funding for educational programs and increased enforcement. A new state law also goes into effect next year that could make it easier for Encinitas to lower speed limits on our roadways. And the El Cajon Valley Union School District is launching a new plan to make schools safer. CBS 8's Rocio de la Fe gives us a closer look at their partnership with law enforcement and what they're doing differently.
The district first launched a school safety plan back in 2018 following the deadly Parkland High School shooting in Florida. But with school shootings still a major threat across the country, the Cajon Valley School District is now taking it a step further.
Training is paramount. Training is what's going to help bring success.
The Cajon Valley Union School District is making sure their safety and security procedures are up to date.
This is something that we revisit every year, practice training protocols, tools, everything.
The district, along with the El Cajon Police Department and San Diego County Sheriff's Office, are once again working together to beef up their prevention strategies and response for all 27 district area schools.
But to have that collaboration, to have that open line of communication with them is super important to accomplish that goal.
Superintendent Dr. David Miyashiro says the district is making the necessary adjustments after hearing safety concerns from students and parents on student behavior, discipline procedures, and the frequency of which incidents happen. Last month, the school board took steps to address these concerns, gather input, and update their safety plan. As part of the preparation, law enforcement agencies hold realistic training exercises like this.
Our school district concentrates on an option-based response. We don't rely on just a lockdown-only response if ever faced with a violent critical incident.
It's really important that we get realistic training.
We want to make sure that if staff is ever faced with the presence of danger, that they know what the response is going to be.
The efforts to increase security and safety comes as welcome news to parents.
They need to be able to know the blueprints of where they're at so they can handle the situations better. They know where the doors are.
The children are our future. We need to teach them, to help them.
The district will be holding future town hall meetings to lay out how they're putting their plan to action. The public is invited to attend and voice their opinions. To find out how to participate and when the next meeting is, go to CBS8.com and click on this story. Rocio de la Fe, CBS 8.
So important. Rocio, thank you. Well, Logan Heights neighbors are upset over the old library on 28th Street. It's been abandoned for years after the city of San Diego built a newer library in 2009. People consider the building historical. It was built back in 1927, and it's the oldest building. They are now asking and wanting the city to renovate it instead.
I'm Regina Urita reporting in Logan Heights, where neighbors who live near the old library are frustrated to see it decaying. Now the city does have plans, and they're hoping to improve it very soon.
Yeah, our apologies there. You can see that full story on CBS8.com. But in a written statement, a spokesperson for the city says the city is planning to rehabilitate the old Logan Heights Library building to keep the historical aesthetics of the facility intact. There is $2.4 million in state grant funding allocated for this project so far, and it has been strictly designated for bringing the building up to code. Additional funding will be required. All right, now to the video you're looking at. With the writer strike still ongoing, there could be some changes at one of San Diego's biggest events this year, ComicCon, of course. CBS 8's Ariana Cohen breaks it down from inside the ComicCon Museum.
With the Writers Guild striking and Screen Actors Guild threatening to strike, major Hollywood studios and actors may not attend ComicCon at all next month. More than 11,000 writers have been on strike since the beginning of May, seeking negotiations for a new contract. Marvel Studios, Disney, HBO, Lucasfilms, Sony Pictures, Universal Pictures, and Netflix will not have panels at Hall H, some of the most sought-after panels for fans. And other big names like Warner Brothers are still on the fence.
It's showtime!
This is amid a challenging time for ComicCon, which last year returned to its traditional in-person event after virtual events during the pandemic. In a statement to CBS 8, ComicCon says in part, quote, "With regard to the strike and its possible effects on ComicCon, we tend to refrain from speculation or forecasting. Our hope is for a speedy resolution."
While the status of some things at ComicCon this year are still up in the air, there's still plenty to be excited about here at the museum and ComicCon. I'm on the famous Bugs Bunny chair, where you can have an interactive experience.
We're continuing to evolve, and we want to bring things that, not only ComicCon fans can enjoy, but everyone can enjoy.
The ComicCon Museum is debuting 3 new exhibits on July 18th, including American comic book writer Stan Lee's legacy, Cowboy Bebop art, and a My Hero Academia installation.
Michelangelo.
At the convention center, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be promoting their new movie, Mutiny Mayhem. Fans can also enjoy a Jurassic Park experience and much more.
You're going to find something that appeals to you from a nostalgic era or from what's going on today.
ComicCon is hoping for a resolution before the convention kicks off July 20th. Ariana Cohen, CBS 8.
Yeah, it's a big one for us. We're definitely all hoping for that resolution. Ariana, thank you. Well, right now, the South Bay is seeing a boom with a new resort on its way and other new businesses. The revamped South Bay Marina is also getting some new life with its first Black-owned water sports rental business. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes takes us there.
So I can take a beginner boater and make it seem like they've been boating for some time.
Artist Redmond and his wife Arlen run R&R Surf. The name is a play on their last names and rest and relaxation.
That's what we're looking to provide when customers come. Vacation to San Diego.
And do they ever with a fleet of boats just for cruising?
The drivability of the boat is absolutely exceptional.
Or for the thrill seekers?
This is an E4. This boat is all electric. And as you can see, it has a mast that extends 2.5 feet beneath the water.
It has its own mast.
It has its own mast. It has a propeller as well.
So this is the one that lifts off the water?
Yes, it is. It lifts out of the water.
And with the Gaylord opening in 2025, this is one of the first businesses bringing surfing and anything else you might want to do to the South Bay. How did you fall in love with this aspect of life?
Well, honestly, growing up in Arkansas, we did a lot of fishing, but most of that fishing wasn't from a boat.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I joined the Navy that I was exposed to this lifestyle.
You heard that right. Another native Arkansan just like myself. It's easy to see why we love it here. The Gaylord Pacific Resort and Convention Center that's under construction right now is sure to bring lots of visitors to the area. Artist says having his business here in the South Bay is a dream come true because the stakes are high for any new business, and he says so are the barriers to entry.
We worked so hard to get here. Like I say, we went into every door of every marina here, and it took a couple years for this opportunity to roll out. It means so much because it opens the door for so much more.
And they want to bridge the gap by making water sports available to everyone and by giving discounts to those who serve.
This is our way of giving back and honoring military and first responders.
Kirsten Holmes, CBS 8.
So cool, so fun. Kirsten, thanks. So you can find R&R Surf at 606 Marina Parkway right there in Chula Vista. Well, the city of San Diego is bringing back the Parks After Dark program. Mayor Todd Gloria made the announcement on Monday. He says the goal of the program is to help reduce crime and create a safe and positive atmosphere. Now, 4 parks across the city will host the summer activities featuring food, crafts, games, entertainment. The program starts July 6th and will run for 8 weeks every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We do have all of those details on our website, CBS8.com. And what would you do to have free Cane's chicken for a full year? One man in Rancho San Diego has that answer. Arturo Gonzalez is sitting in a hot pink tent in front of the new Raising Cane's location on Hamishaw Road. He was there from 6 Monday morning until the grand opening at 8 a.m. on Tuesday. As the first person in line for his Caniac combo, Arturo will get a special gift basket and a chance to win free food again for a full year. Arturo he told us that he was sold on Cane's from that very first bite.
I thought, oh, it's just chicken fingers and toast. And then when I took my very first bite, I was absolutely blown away at just the quality and then the friendliness of the staff.
Yes, I still haven't tried it. So the first 20 customers at the new Cane's location were entered to win those free meals for a year. Meantime, the 4th of July holiday is one of the most popular times of the year for water activities, of course, and safety experts across San Diego County want to remind you to stay safe. There's an average 17 million visitors to our beaches each year. Because of that, law enforcement wants to make sure that beachgoers know the rules. Those are no fireworks, no alcohol on the beach, and no fires outside of city designated fire rings.
You want to make sure you have your boater's card, and you want safe boating. You want to make sure you have all the carriage requirements out there. You're wearing a PFD.
There's a lot of fireworks that are made south of the border that are not commercially made. They're made in someone's backyard, essentially.
Yeah, so as for the water, they highly encourage parents, you know it, watch your kids. And the 4th of July is a big celebration, and there are plenty of options available here in San Diego. Fireworks, of course, always a highlight, but in La Jolla and Ocean Beach this year, they're lighting up the sky in a brand new way. CBS 8's Brian White has the scoop.
On July 4th, 100 drones will take to the sky above La Jolla's shores, creating fantastic light displays and formations, all with no sound.
It's a good change. It's going to be great for the environment. It's not going to disturb the sea lion pups, and it's beautiful. I've seen them before. They're absolutely amazing.
Trigger Chansey moved his family to San Diego a month ago, and he's looking forward to this.
It's a new way to show patriotism. It's modern. It's coming into the new times, getting away from things that could be dangerous or potentially harmful to pets.
Scheduled to launch at 8:45 in the evening, the synchronized drones will soar 350 feet up in the air over the ocean for a 15-minute jaw-dropping performance.
If you're in Kellogg Park or you're on the beach out there, you're going to have a front row seat to this.
William Kellogg is president of La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club, and they're hosting the show in partnership with Drone Studios. They gave us these images of what to expect.
Some simulated fireworks, for one thing. We'll have an American flag. We'll have a bald eagle. And what happens is they've got an animation, so it's going to morph from one into the other.
Fireworks shows have traditionally been held at La Jolla Cove, but not since 2017. Funding and and permit issues, as well as a lawsuit claiming harm to sea lions, have kept fireworks grounded over the past 5 years. Organizers are hoping this drone show becomes a new community tradition.
The beauty of the drone show is there's no fallout and there's no sound, so my dogs will be happy.
Another first for drone shows will be happening in Ocean Beach, too. This preview provided by Skyworks. Instead of the usual fireworks display off the OB Pier, 300 drones will launch from Ocean Beach Elementary at 9 o'clock and should be visible throughout the neighborhood.
Really looking forward to not only the show, but improving the environment without having all the fireworks and the fallout.
We have a full list of July 4th celebrations across the county up on CBS8.com. I'm Brian White for CBS 8.
Yeah, mesmerizing. So cool. Well, have a very safe and happy 4th of July. As always, thank you for your time. Thanks for staying informed, and join me each week as I take you around San Diego. For CBS 8, I'm Jenny Day. Take good care.